Welcome back, guys. We're here in Moonbill with Brad, heading back to WEWAC on an hour-and-a-half flight. This is our 6th flight of the day, and we're both tired.
Rotation outside, rotation inside. 4 and 2. Got an engine coming up, oil pressure. Fuel flow, ICT's coming up, watching the trend.
Or Z6598, November Tango Kilo Taxi. Or Z6538, November Tango Kilo Taxi.
Tango Kilo Morphe, go ahead.
Up and in again, no Joy 6598, November Tango Kilo Taxi, Moonbill, WEWAC, 2 POB.
Tango Kilo, copy taxi,
November Tango Kilo. All stations Moonbill 1267, November Tango Kilo, back taxiing for departure, WEWAC will be on climb 5000, all stations Moonbill. Okay, we're going to try to climb up to 15,000, well, not going to try to climb up, we're going to climb up to 15,000 feet and then check the winds and see what it is. We're going to have a headwind regardless, getting back to WEWAC. We have our VFR reserve as well as about 90 extra pounds on top of that. So that's about an hour and 20 minutes by the time we land in WEWAC, as long as we're not using all that extra fuel. But we will be using extra fuel. So we just want to determine what's our best option for getting back at the altitude and saving the most amount of fuel and everything. This is the first time Brad has been out here to Moonbill. He's going to do the takeoff today. Just bouncing around. Do the takeoff out of here. This is your first sloped runway takeoff.
It is.
So far. Yes. He just did his first bush landing today over in Sino. We didn't do a video with that, but so you're going to do the takeoff here, and I'll just coach you through it. Just like we'll do a soft field, short field combined like we always do, where we'll just hold the brakes. We're going to lock our elbow in. Once we get it up here, we're going to lock it in probably about right there, and then just hold it there as tightly as you can, and it's going to be bouncing all over the place. Don't try to fight it, just hold it. And what's going to happen is the nose wheel will just skim the ground. But if you start kind of trying to correct for it as it's bouncing up, and it might bounce up a lot, you're gonna get to the where you're just a half a second behind it, and it's actually going to slow you down because now your wings are going up and down like this, just catching the wind and stuff, as opposed to just sitting there going like this. It's bouncy, but it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
We're going to climb out at 73 knots, and then wherever we're clearing these mountains, a little bank off to the right every once in a while just so you can see out this window, or push over so you can see, and then we'll get on track up to 15,000. So because we're empty, those kids up here on the left will be 40 knots at that point. That's our
safe.
those
first yellow cones.
By the yellow cones.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's our safe report point. We'll stop on the runway. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, left hand turn to lower terrain, consider EPO, consider feather. About 20 degrees of flaps in. We'll keep those 20 degrees of flaps in until we're over top of this mountain here.
Okay.
And once we're 100% clear, yeah, we can lower it down to 85 knots and just climb out from there.
Okay.
Then we'll hit emergencies masters. We're not going to bother trying to call anybody because there's people out here that can call people. We're not going to waste ourselves trying to do an emergency call when we could barely get a hold of them on our taxi call. So if we have an emergency. All right, we are ready to go. All stations Moonbill 1267, November Tango Kilo, rolling Moonbill for WEWAC. We'll be on climb 15,000. And there's always dogs.
Alright, ready to go?
Alright, we're ready. Position yourself just to right about, it's a little too far, just go right about there, and then just hold it nice and tight, alright?
Having some trouble with my
Alright, then just hold it nice and tight.
Hey, we've got 40 knots, we'll continue.
A little bit more, and then once you can get it airborne, then get it airborne. There you go. Sweet. And then pitch for 73, and we'll see how quickly we can climb especially because we've got 6 knots of headwind. Yes, we're almost to the top of this already.
That's true.
That's so annoying.
Stay.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, and we have 2 people on board. And we're already over top of it. When I flew the air van, and I'd get out of here, like we could barely make, see this gap over here? We could barely make that gap if we were full up.
Is that right?
Yeah. All right, and then those clouds over there, that's right where we came in. I'll do your departure call. I think we're both getting tired.
I'm trying to keep up with the airplane, that's all.
All right, so where are we? What time did we depart? I can't think.
Like 23?
Where is the time? Oh, right there. See what I mean? 23. Mars B1267, November Tango Kilo, departure.
November Tango Kilo, go ahead.
November Tango Kilo, departed Moonbill, time 23. Tracking 057 on climb 15,000, estimating overhead Hauna 52.
November Tango Kilo, 15,000, no reported traffic.
November Tango Kilo. So it looks like our fuel is pretty badly imbalanced from just sitting there. So let's turn off our right. That's about 250, so see what it feels like? You can always use your aileron to trim to get it kind of so that these aren't sideways like this.
Yeah.
But that's our maximum, and it's pretty uncomfortable very uncomfortable if you go anywhere past that, which we're not supposed to, for good reason. With it being out like that, we're probably gonna have our fuel off for like 45 minutes at least to get it centered back up to what we were gonna want. But while I was out there, I shot an on-the-ground video of a project that we're working on with the community. We started about 8 months ago, and I'll leave a link down below. I have these kind of videos on my Patreon, but if I can remember, I'll just post it to where everybody can watch it down below just to see what it is. It's a community building for them that they can store their coffee. It's right on the edge of the runway, as well as we're planning on doing like a small solar thing so they can charge up their flashlights, their phones, and things. This is a small community project just to, you know, help out the community in what ways that we can. If you're interested in seeing that or finding out other projects that we do for different communities around, we've done one for a school and one for another, like a little aid station at another place. Check the link out down below to my Patreon page. I do a lot of this kind of stuff. And if you're a flight sim and you want to try the same flight, I know X-Plane has it, Microsoft Flight Sim has it, where you can fly out to these places, and it's, yeah, experience PNG from a different perspective other than just watching these videos. We're coming through 7,000, almost 8,000. We've got 8 knots of headwind. We're curious to see how much wind. It's going to be a little bit less for the first maybe 20 miles, and then it'll pick back up as we get a little bit further away from these mountains. So I'm curious to see if we're going to have 20 knots of headwind on the way back or not. Let's talk about that takeoff. Like, what were your thoughts as far as like what you expected?
The face by this thing.
Yeah, we can tighten that up when we get back to Garoka.
It smacked me as soon as we left. I moved it back and it smacked me again.
So if that happens and if it's bouncy,
distraction.
just go like this and shove it off like that, and then like kind of like this one, and that way it's at least tight and it won't bounce. But yeah, we can tighten it up. It's that one right there. I've had to do it a few times. Do you feel like there was a lot more going on? I know for the first few bush takeoffs I did, I just felt like my mind wasn't thinking as clearly because it was like all these new sensations that I wasn't really expecting or knowing what to expect.
Things are moving a lot faster because everything's so close. With the bigger runway, you've got things that are spaced further away, so it's not happening as quickly. But whenever you've got a dog or a person or a tree that's only 20 meters away, it's just moving a lot faster.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it was much harder to keep up.
And that's where, you know how it's easy when you're on the paved runway, you're like, airspeed alive, yeah, we're close to 720. That's where what I was saying is really important to get in that your eye habit just to quickly look at the 720, because you might only be at 700 or you might already be at 760 and you don't know it kind of thing, and or you might even be higher than that because sometimes you might like unintuitively be adding power because you're like, oh crap, oh crap. So that's where that little quick extra check can really save your butt, or go, man, I could add a little bit more power, you know?
Okay.
Well, I might as well get my oxygen out now. If you're wondering, viewers, why are we going all up to 15,000 and having to throw oxygen on? For one, this is not a pressurized airplane, so we have to. And also, it's because if we head back at 15,000 as opposed to just 11,000, we actually save about 40 pounds on fuel, which means that we can get about 20 extra kgs roughly heading back out to Moonbill on our leg out there. So that's the reason being is why we're flying back at 15,000 feet.
November Tango Kilo, November Tango Kilo, mostly check call 126.807, 12345, how do you read?
Heading in strength 5, will remain here, November Tango Kilo, passing 13,000 and climb 15,000.
November Tango Kilo, roger, reading is strength 4, maintain this frequency.
November Tango Kilo. Also, what I want to add with that community building is, I don't know when this video will come out, but I will do a video when it's completely completed and share it with one of my other videos as well. Probably kind of a mixed one on the ground as well as one of our flights. I'm planning maybe trying to take out my wife out to there so that she can see it and we can spin it out at Moonbill. And I don't think she's ever been out there, so it'd be nice to be able to bring her out there and then show you guys probably another, like a little bit more in depth around the villages. We'll have time to walk around and ask some cultural questions and things. I know a lot of people ask those kinds, like we'd love to see more cultural stuff, but typically, you can contest to this, Brad. Are we usually in a rush? Do we usually have
usually in a rush?
Busy schedules, or we don't really have a lot of time to sit down with people and chit chat and see how they're doing and ask them a bunch of questions. It's usually like, all right guys, here's your stuff, see you later, bye, thanks. So, hey, look at that, the winds aren't that bad, 12 knots. Wonder what they're gonna get right here though. That's about where they started dropping off. It's right around that 6. All right, well, we'll pick this video back up when we start our descent down into Wewak, because there's really not a lot going on for the next 45 minutes. Well, we're about 13 minutes out of Wewak, so 15,000 feet. We're going to try a quicker descent because we haven't done it really yet together, so we're going to try 1,500 feet per minute descent, which will probably increase up to around, like we were saying earlier, around 1,900 feet by the time we get down to sea level. We're just 34 miles out, but just looking straight ahead of us, we've just got a couple of scattered clouds and just a really thick haze layer underneath, probably, I don't know, below 9,000 or something like that. We're probably not going to see the coastline quite as easy today as on our descent, but then when you do see it, you'll go, oh crap, that's a lot closer than I was imagining it being. That's usually what I'll do, like, oh man, it's like already right there. So anyways, yeah, we'll start going down in just a second. But we're almost there, and our top of descent is going to be in 3 minutes. So we could preemptively just turn our altitude select down to what we want to now, so that when Betty says top of descent, all we have to do, it's already talked to the autopilot, because it takes about 10 seconds from when you turn that down for the autopilot to recognize that you changed it. Then you just hit that and then just start scrolling all the way down to whatever we had at 1,500 feet.
We went for the fuel back on once we started to descend.
I bet we can keep it off almost all the way down.
Okay.
So we're still like, let's see, we can do gen fuel, and it says we are at, what am I looking at? Oh, there we go. 260 and 140. Even though
vertical track.
They're not quite the exact, we're still like off 100 pounds almost, according to that. So we can keep it off for another few minutes. All right, that's Betty letting us know we can go down. It looks like perfectly clear. I don't even see the coastline here, and we're only 25 miles from it.
It looks about blue that direction.
I know, I see about like 10 miles, and then everything just turns blue. All stations, Wewak, cardiac November 10 Kilo, 20 miles on the 240 radial, passing 12,000 on descent. Circuit time 27 Wewak. 15 miles, and I still don't even see the coastline. And there's not even one cloud out there. That's how thick I don't know if it's smoke or just, I don't know, look at that line right here. That's pretty wild. It's actually gotten a lot better here, even since we just left, what, an hour and a half ago?
Oh yeah.
This was all built up to I mean, we were going through it maybe like 4,000 something, and it was like up to 9 or 10,000 at that point already. So it's actually cleared up quite a bit. There, I'm starting to see the town. Just a hint of it out there, but I still can't even see the coastline. At 12 miles.
172 knots, so should I slow it down a little bit, or is it?
Yeah, I'd probably slow it down because see how it's increasing? I like to give myself at least a 10 knot because the time now that you're screwing off and looking out here and not paying attention, like I got up to 180 instead of 182, and I was like, oh no, and quickly just pulled the power back. Yeah, now I'm starting to barely see it at 11 miles. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen it this hazy when it's perfectly clear. All right, so there's the runway. Yeah, we're like 8 miles at 5,000 feet. What are we up to now? Look at that, we're up to 1,900 feet per minute to be able to get to that. I mean, we did kind of mess around with the autopilot there for a second, but it's quite a big difference on how much extra you have to have. But if you're here by yourself, man, that little bit extra, staying up at 15,000 for an extra couple minutes as opposed to doing a 500-foot descent, starting 40 minutes out, might actually save you 30 extra pounds of fuel.
Yeah. Plus you get to keep the air conditioning longer.
Look at this, so you can actually start to get like, whatchamacallit, the windshield is starting to fog over on my side. So just put it on defrost to clean it off. All stations to WEWAC, November Tango Kilo, 3 miles to the west. We'll be flying overhead, joining the left downwind runway 1.
Sink rate.
Correction 28. Correction 10. Break, Moresby, November Tango Kilo, cancel SAR, WEWAC.
Number Tango Kilo, WEWAC, Sarwatch terminated.
Thanks and have a nice day.
Number Tango Kilo.
And your side cleared up really quick, but mine's like...
My side never got as bad.
Oh, that's wild. Mine... Oh, it's blowing all right. Oh, and you've got like a nice smoke. Someone's building a fire right at the end of the runway. That's nice of them. You see, you don't get in America.
It's 10, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'll see when we turn final, someone built a fire like 50 feet off the end of the runway. The smoke going everywhere. A few years ago, they were, the fire department in Madang was doing like testing and stuff. And they had all these black tires that they were burning, and it was blowing right over the runway.
Oh wow.
Making it a little more challenging for landing. For the viewers, if you're wondering what those boats are out there, I believe they're tuna boats.
Where do you want me to land? 500?
Just go for the 500, yeah. We're set up well for that. Oh, 10 knots of headwind.
500.
Because there's like 5 knots, there might be like a small little bit of wind shear just kind of right over top of the numbers area as you're coming over that.
Can't seem to get it to slow down.
It's hard when it's this late. Be prepared if you're not at 61, you'll float a little bit further than you want to.